All right. So good morning, everybody. Ron Dexter. I'm the Vice President of Dayton Defense. And I'd also like to introduce Deborah Gross. She's our Executive Director, and she's been with Dayton Defense since it was founded 25 years ago this year, actually. So if you're not familiar with Dayton Defense, we're a not-for-profit industry organization. Primarily, as you mentioned in the introduction, that we help make the connections between government and industry. Primarily concentrating on the government at Wright Path, to include Air Force Research Laboratory, the 711th, as we're learning about today, and AFL-CMC as well. So a lot of people kind of describe this as we're connecting buyers and sellers, but it's a little bit more than that. And we'll get into that within the briefing here. So we do promote quite a bit within the region, and we also work with some partners. For example, Wright Brothers Institute, who's done a fantastic job putting this event together. We partner with them on quite a few events, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a few minutes. There's also another organization in town that we partner with, and that's called the Dayton Development Coalition. Many of you may have heard of that, may think, well, there's some overlap. Well, actually, there really isn't. We concentrate on the technology part of the business, kind of what you're going to learn about today, understanding the technology needs and requirements of the base, where Dayton Development Coalition kind of goes a step beyond that, and they help businesses get established within the Dayton region. So we work together on many initiatives, and it's actually a pretty good proprietorship. So we are a volunteer-based organization, and we'll talk a little bit about that as we go through here. So basically, how do we help? We basically help network, help companies learn, put on events that companies can attend, and we help companies grow. So let me give you some examples. For the networking, as I mentioned before, we talked a little bit about we're business to government relationships, but actually we do more than that. We're business to business and also government to government. A lot of our events, we have government folks asking questions of other government folks as well, to learn about new technologies and other things that are happening on the base. And we also make a lot of connections with business to businesses as well. So we get a lot of compliments from that area. In addition to putting on events, we provide a mechanism to learn. And so other than learning firsthand what's going on in government at Wright Pat, we also put on educational tutorials, if you will. Teach companies trying to do business with the government how to respond to a broad agency announcement, how to apply for contracting, new types of contracting vehicles, OTAs and things like that, for example. So we put on educational, and we can provide some consultation as well in that area. We provide quite a few events, and I'll talk about the highlights of those in a little bit, but primarily lunch and learn activities, as we call them, where we have lunch and we have guest speakers that come in and discuss technology topics and specific topics within acquisition of interest to the communities. Over the last couple of years, we've partnered quite a bit with the Wright Brothers Institute and hold events at their facility downtown, afternoon seminars, afternoon webinars, things like that. And then also some major events. And then help companies grow, primarily from an educational standpoint. We have a new initiative that I've got a slide I'll talk about workforce development. And if you're any companies like my day job, we have challenges hiring and retaining folks. So we're putting together initiatives to help companies do that hiring and help them educate their staffs. One of the things that we do with Dayton Defense, we have a sister organization called the Dayton Defense Educational Foundation. It's a charitable organization. We do fundraising through the year. And then also once a year, we do a large gala, as we call it. And over the years, we've been able to collect and disperse over $180,000 in scholarships to our local universities. So it's definitely helping build the community and build the future workforce, to be blunt. So these are some of the events that I highlighted. Now, it's interesting, this is our 25th anniversary year, and we're really known for our events, but because of the COVID, a lot of the events have kind of been shifted or gone away at some level. But just to give you kind of a flavor of what we do, there's a golf outing starting on the left there, a golf outing that we do usually during the week of the Wright Dialogue with Industry. Ohio Cyber Dialogue with Industry. That's something we started a number of years ago, and it's really grown significantly to concentrate on the cyber discipline itself, but again, bringing not only industry and DoD contractors, but also bringing in a lot of the commercial industry that is affected in trying to figure out how to protect against the cyber threats. Starting on the upper right, the Dayton Air Show, we sponsor a chalet, which is a fantastic networking opportunity that you can buy tickets for and attend. Every year, in association with the Wright Dialogue with Industry, we do a VIP reception. And what that is, we get senior leadership from AFRL and from AFL-CIMC to attend this, as well as our members and contractors. It's a great event to mingle, kind of talk a little bit of business, but also talk a little bit of personal. And that's something that's been exciting that we do every year. And then one of our premier events is the Wright Dialogue with Industry. If you haven't heard of that, that's an event where primarily it's a 3-day event, including unclassified and classified information, where we get to focus on Air Force Research Laboratory. In fact, Mr. Phillipson has been a very big part of that with the 711th for a number of years. And so it's a fantastic dialogue opportunity to talk with government and talk with industry in a historically an in-person environment. In fact, this year we were planning on doing the next phase of this medical mixer, as we're talking about today, to have an in-person event. Unfortunately, because of the COVID, we had to cancel that this year, but we have already got plans in place for next year, so mark your calendars there. And then we're looking to highlight some, some follow-on to this medical connectivity with the government and industry. So I mentioned before this new initiative we have for workforce development. This is something Dr. Brian Rigling, who's a professor and dean here at Wright State, he's on our executive board in a volunteer role. And one of the things they're trying to do is understand how to shape the educational needs of the future workforce. And I never really thought about this until he brought this up, but they have to modify their curriculum over time to meet the needs, especially here in town, of the businesses and of government. And so this medical area is definitely an interest that I have and also that Brian does, to learn about what some of the future workforce needs are, what some of the technology needs are, and try and shape what they do at Wright State for a curriculum to meet those needs. So if you're interested in participating in this, we're putting together some panels. I'll have some contact information at the end. You can reach out to us and we can get you involved in this initiative. And so finally, I've kind of said this multiple times, we're a volunteer organization. All of us have our day jobs and our night jobs, but we are very passionate about Dayton Defense and what it brings to the community and how it benefits companies, especially in an environment like this with the medical industry trying to reach out, as Dr. Nayak said, the non-traditional contractors. So we can help make those connections. We can help educate how you become a DoD contractor or just how you work with the DoD government in lockstep with their needs and requirements. So you can always just volunteer to be part of Dayton Defense to help with that. Membership, members of Dayton Defense, it's a really low cost, few $100s. They get access to things like the workforce development program that we have. Then ultimately sponsorships. Ball Aerospace is a big sponsor of this event today, and they're also a sponsor of Dayton Defense. They help promote the organization and continue to let us operate. Even though we're a volunteer organization, there's still operating expenses. And we greatly thank the memberships and sponsors for supporting that. So we do have a booth today. Jill Alexander, she is our Director of Communications. She'll be manning that booth. So please stop by and ask them additional questions. And then also you can contact us at our website or through that email below. So that's all I had to really discuss today. If we're taking questions.